there's also, and I feel like you have been interested in the new 12K that they've announced, which I
The seven. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
did they announced the new 12K too, right? And the 17K.
They did. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I was gonna make
You're right.
sure. For some reason, I was making sure I got that right. But yeah, I didn't look too much into these. I feel like these cameras really aren't targeted toward me. I find them fascinating, but the Blackmagic 12K, which have you ever shot in the original set 12K?
I've not.
Because I heard bad things about the 12K resolution. That was it. I mean, the camera itself, what I heard was decent, but I don't know.
So, um, I this is where like we get into like the quality control thing.
Yeah.
Um, well, maybe not quite a quality control thing, but I had my boss. He had bought a 12 gig for a project recently. And when I say recently, I think like a year or two ago. And it like died on him
Oh
like
God.
not too long after he bought it. And I think it was because maybe he just like on the 12K unit, the 4.6K, you can change out the native V mount to like a gold mount or whatever. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe he was changing his out to be a native V mount for the camera. And maybe he just connected things wrong, but ended up never turning
Okay.
on again. He had to send it
Okay.
back and get a refund and that whole thing. So,
Well, at least
like,
they refunded him.
yeah, that's good. But it kind of brings up a point that I remember even seeing old YouTube videos like, a year or two ago where I was watching this guy named, I think his name is YMC Imaging or something like that.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
talking about like the Pocket 6K. It was like one of the Pockets. He just talked about how it just straight up died on him like out of nowhere.
I
And then when the
heard horror
6K,
stories about the pockets. Yeah.
dude, yeah, even when the 6K Pro first came out, it had like a blue screen, blue tint issue or something
Yep.
like that.
I
So it
remember
just makes
that.
me wonder, like, okay, like even with the Pixis, the 17K, the 12K, like, are there going to be a bunch of bugs when these cameras drop? Like that's
Yeah.
something to consider because that's Blackmagic kind of has a track record of always having super
They
buggy
do.
cameras. Now
They
they
do.
patch them out in firmwares, which is great,
Yeah.
but you don't want to be paying like 3,000, 12K,
No.
12,000, 17, whatever, for these cameras just for them to bug out and
No. No.
like
No.
be
Yeah.
dang near unusable. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that these cameras are close to bulletproof when they first come out. And that you aren't just spending copious amounts of money that you can buy like 3, 4, 5 cars with, and the
Yes.
camera is like barely usable because it just keeps locking up or freezing or whatever,
Yeah. I
So,
hope, and I don't. I think they know this season for Black Magic is pretty
yeah,
pivotal.
yeah, yeah.
Where it seems super important because if this Pixis comes out and flops for any reason like that, or there's a lot of bad
Hmm.
stories, I think that's really going to hurt where they're at. People are going to lose.
Hmm.
People have a lot of faith and hope right now in this new line of cameras, and
Hmm.
I think they're really looking forward to that. But the 12K, I don't know. I didn't know anything about the old 12K. I don't know if you do, but I don't know
The
what's
only thing
different in
I
the
know
new
about
one.
it, so the frame rates, there's a lot of frame rates. There's a lot more frame rates. In the new one, the old one, I think the 6K was like the more limited
Mm-hmm.
resolution in the old one. I think it like either cropped in or something like that, which I really hated to hear that because I would rather use 6K over like 8K or beyond that for like most things.
Yeah.
So hearing that that's like the one that crops in and it's already a Super 35 sensor is like not what you want to hear. But I hear that a lot of that stuff is improved upon on the 12K. You got more frame rates options. You
Yeah.
have I think you have a heavier body on top of that.
It's a
I
whole new
don't
sensor
know
too, right?
if I
Whole
believe so. I believe
I
so.
see
The
new large format RGBW
Oh,
36
that's
by
right. It's full
24
frame
image
too.
sensor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the original one wasn't?
It was not. It was Super 35.
Okay, then that's big. So yeah, this is full frame. With larger photo sites and incredible
Is
dynamic
there
range. You
is
can
there like a
swap.
new native ISO thing?
That I don't know about. I don't because I really knew the 12K original was kind of a blind spot for me. I really didn't know much about that. But
Hmm.
this, I don't know if the old one had this, but this is swappable between EFPL and LPL. Is that just L mount? What is LPL?
LPL is
Is that
lock,
just
positive
PL?
lock.
So it's
It's
this
PL. It's like a yeah,
locking PL.
locking
Okay, that
PL.
makes
Yeah.
sense. I just seen that. I was like, wait. So that's cool. It's swappable though. Like you yourself can swap
Mm-hmm.
that. It can shoot open gate as well. I love this leaning into open gate stuff. And you got 4K, 8K, and 12K, which I like to have those options. I don't know if the other one was like locked. Were you locked in 12K? I don't know.
No, you weren't. You can shoot in other resolutions,
Uh, and you
but
can do super.
you couldn't go as high in frame rate as those in
Uh,
those lower resolutions. Only
yeah,
unless you went to like 1080 or something like that, 4K or 1080. But
yeah.
now
I've
there's
never.
like 4K, 240, and like I don't know, like 1080, 300 or 500 or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe not
it,
500, but
it'll do Super 35 and 9K, which is pretty cool. I think.
nice.
Um, yeah, the 100 frames in 12 up to 100 FPS in 12K, and that is this. It's was it 17 by 9. I don't know if is that open gate. 100
No,
FPS. I don't know. So
no.
I wonder what the max. I don't have that here. The max frame rate in open gate you can shoot on that. I don't know, but
If
100.
it's 3x2, it's probably going to be open gate. That typically is the open gate aspect ratio 3x2.
Oh yeah, that's yeah because math equations, numbers throw me off. But the yeah, so I don't see anywhere what it can do up to in open gate. But
Okay.
it can do 120 frames in 12K 241, 144 at
Mhm.
8,192 by 5,036 or 5,360, 180 FPS and 8,192 by 3,408, 224 FPS and 8,192 by 3,408. I don't know what those resolutions are. The math that's still you're still over 4K at 224, right? 224 frames.
What's
And then
the resolution thing? Was is 3000 by something? What?
on the 224 frames is 8,192 by 3,408. So that is
That's 8K. That's it.
yeah, 8K at 224 frames,
That's
and I
insane.
still
That's
believe it's all
insane.
full frame. I believe it's
That's
full frame.
insane.
And then
That's
the
insane.
photo frame grab we were just talking about, 100
Yeah.
megapixels every time you push that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dude. That dude. That's like I can't
That's
even put into words like how crazy that is.
that is, and that's where we do, and
That's like a huge print. It's like a huge 100 megapixels, dude.
yeah,
100 mega. That's like you can get decent sized prints and crop in super far in
oh
on
yeah,
like the A7 IV from Sony, which is like 30 something megapixels, but like 100 megapixels, especially on a full frame camera, you're like you can see like mini hairs on people's eyebrows with
oh,
that.
it's insane. Yeah, so and it also depends where the print's going, how far you are, because I think billboards
True,
people use like
true.
12 megapixels fine, but my fiance business partner Caitlin, she would love to talk about this because she is
Hmm.
all about megapixels. So like what we would do
Mm-hmm.
for our clients, being able to just grab 100 megapixels, and create content or print material out of that. When it comes to marketing material, that's pretty cool to have that much information.
Mm-hmm.
Where she does a lot of masking and photoshopping, so having that many megapixels, being able to punch in and like remove things, and
Mm-hmm.
having that much where the
Mm-hmm.
like the feathering, like where you take something out, there's just
Mm-hmm.
more pieces. I don't know. That's really
Mm-hmm.
cool to me. And then it says up to 80 f. Okay, so up to 80 FPS and Blackmagic Raw. I imagine that is probably the 12K open gate. I was not pretty clear with my notes here, but and one thing that I thought was really unique about this is it has its own media module. Did you see this?
No.
So it has its own.
Proprietary?
Yeah, yeah. So it has
Ooh.
its own proprietary media module. I don't think you
I
have
don't
to use
know.
it. I think it's optional, but
Mm-hmm.
I maybe you have to maybe you have to use that to shoot 12K at OpenGate. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it it's an 8 terabyte, like looks like a magazine, like
Jeez.
looks like you're loading a gun up, like a magazine slides in the side. It looks pretty cool. Um, and yeah, it says that 8 terabytes at 12K you'll be able to shoot for 20 hour or no 4 hours in 12K rolling continuous and 20 hours in 4K. But the module itself, 8 terabytes, actually cheaper than I thought. Still expensive. It's $1,695 for one of those. And I believe there's I don't know if you have to buy a reader for it. That I'm not sure about. If it can just plug straight into your computer or if that's another expense. I don't know. But I thought that was really interesting that it had its own they called it a media module. And they only have, as far as I've seen, they only had the 8 terabytes. So I don't know if there's less or more or what there is, but they stressed that it's like safe, guaranteed, not gonna fail. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. So
Yeah, when you were throwing high resolutions and high frame rates, I would assume you would need something proprietary. Like
I
that makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense because I don't know if there's even anything that comes close to running 12K or 8K 240, right? Because like once you go like past 60 at high resolutions, like your data rates trying to
Oh,
keep a continuous bit rate going to supplement those high frame rates to not get drop frames, like
yeah.
it's insane. It's now is that all in B-raw, I would assume?
I'm assuming, I don't know.
Do you know if
I'm
the
just
codecs are disclosed or not?
I'm assuming it's Blackmagic Raw because I can't imagine them announcing all these specs under a different resolution that's not their own
Yeah, there's
media.
no way it will
So
be in ProRes either. It'd just be insane data, like
yeah.
unbelievable data if it's in
Yeah,
ProRes.
I don't know what the data rates are. I think they have on their website. I want to say they do have a graph. They have a graph somewhere that shows. I could be wrong. I'm looking. Yeah, there it is. So full 12K open gate at it's 12,288 by 8,040 at 24 frames. Uncompressed Blackmagic Raw is. Wait, I'm trying to make sure I'm reading this thing right. Is over 2,888 megabits a second. That's pretty insane. And then it goes down to 3 to 1 is 1,194. 8 to 1 is 448 megabits a second. 12 to 1 is 298 megabits a second. And then 15 to 1 is 199. And that's constant bit rate and constant quality. It's the highest is 1,432. But they have a really cool graph here that shows you the cap. You can punch in your resolution, your aspect ratio, and frame rate, and then your B-raw settings, and it'll give you an estimate of how much 1 terabyte would get you 2 terabytes. So it's cool they have that there, so you can see like, does this make sense for you data wise to even consider? You can kind of gauge that, that was my biggest question. I got here and I seen that they had this nice little layout there. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so you buying one?
It is very enticing, man. If I had the budget, I
Yeah.
might buy it just to stick with like 6K. And I
What
hope
is?
that the 6K doesn't like crop in and do all that weird stuff. So if they like downsample to now 12K downsample to 6K would probably be unbelievably sharp. But I don't know. I'm a sharp person. I like sharper images. I'm a fan of the digital look because I always feel like you can soften it up and kind of soften it your way, and it's not just
Yeah,
like soft
yeah.
as it is, and you're softening it up even more to where it just looks like low bit ratey, you
That's
know?
where I've learned that recently. Where I was talking to people with red is I used to hate red. I never liked red's image because I thought it was too sharp. It was too digital. But then I've learned if you talk to some experienced DPs, they will say you want the clear, sharpest sensor because you can pick the lenses and the look you want. That everything from the lighting, the lenses, and everything in front of that is what gives the look. But having a sensor that can capture it all is a good place to start. So I'm trying to see the price of this. It is the 12K. So I didn't notice this. I thought the EVF was old, but I guess it's a new one. So the 12K without the EVF, because they have bundles here, is 14,995. So about 15 grand for that. It looks like it comes with a little shoulder pad too. It's a nice little setup. And then the I didn't even mention this, but the Blackmagic Cloud is built in to this. Has which I think is really cool. And then it's $16,495 for the 12K with the EVF. Oh, so there it is. The Blackmagic Media dock for the media module, $1,995 just to be able to plug it into your computer. but I don't know if you need it. It says accelerate your post-production workflow by mounting. Oh, it's just network sharing, uploading to cloud. So it looks like it's more than just a card reader. And then the mounts there, it's 8 terabytes. I only see the 8 terabyte media module. I don't think they have. Surely they'll come out with smaller, maybe bigger too. I don't know. I mean, 8 terabytes is probably a good starting point if you're going to buy a camera like this that shoots that. So if you like that clip, click right here to see another one. If you want to see the entire conversation between me and Josh, click right here.